Chapter 7. Presets. In the section on emotions, I gave you a tool to use to give you your first moment the right emotions. In this section I am going to show you how to take the same tool and use it to generate presets. Okay, I'll bite. What's a preset? I'm glad you asked. But let me keep you in suspense for a little bit while I go back to the list that I used for the emotional preparation. Decide the type of emotion that you need to generate. Create a parallel imaginary situation to generate that emotion. Link the two together with the linking sentence. Make your entrance or begin the take. What this acting tool does is to allow you to generate emotions and link them to the story that you are telling at a particular moment. Can you see how this might be helpful to you? You walk into a room and you are in a great funk. Your boss has just had you on the carpet and didn't let up for nearly an hour. You walk to your desk, but before you get there you hear a voice say, "Hi stranger." The script calls for you to turn and have your heart swell with love at the sight of your lover, then smile. You are in a restaurant, and you have ordered. It is the first date with a man that you think might be Mr. Right, so you are excited. He reaches into his jacket to get something, and you notice that he is armed with a gun. The script calls for you to have the sight of the gun frighten you so badly that you get up from the table and back slowly away, preparing to run if necessary. You are out walking on your lunch hour. It has been a busy day, and you are feeling a little down. You see a face in the crowd, a stranger. But the script calls for you to go into near hysterics. You think that you have seen the face of the man who raped you 5 years ago. What all these situations have in common is that they ask you, as an actor, to have a particular type of emotional reaction to an object, person, or event at a particular moment in the story. These types of reactions are really feelings that we have about people and things that have never discharged the original energy involved in their making. They are also things that have built up an emotional charge by their relationship to us over a period of time. This emotional charge is what drives the reaction. So, as actors we need to create this emotional charge. Then, when we get to a particular moment in the story this emotional landmine goes off. How do we plant these landmines? How do we get these real reactions in what is actually an imaginary situation? Take a look at the linking structure again. Decide the type of emotion that you need to generate. Generate that emotion with an imaginary situation. Link the two together with the linking sentence. Make your entrance or begin the take. We were using this process to generate emotions for our entrance. We can also use this process to generate our emotional landmines for anything that we need them for. Here's how it works. You follow the process through the first 2 steps. You decide the emotion and generate that feeling. But instead you make the link to the event or the person or the place or the object that you need to feel a particular way about. But this changes the last part of the process considerably. Because you are not going to make an entrance just at this moment. You may not step on a landmine that you have just laid for weeks. What you do is to make your link, then put this feeling into your memory, and then you forget that you did the whole thing. So the full process is this. Decide the type of emotion that you need to generate. Create a parallel imaginary situation to generate that emotion. Then, forget that you did the preparation. The human mind works in wonderful and unusual ways. Here is one of them. But until you get some experience using this acting tool, you will just have to trust me that this works. If you forget that you have done your presets and just put them out of your mind, they will work for you automatically when you need them. The more times you go over a preset for a particular reaction, using this process, the more strongly it will work. But presets are built on trust, and if an actor doesn't trust that the homework they have done will work, then they can panic in performance. If the presets aren't rehearsed and stored into the preparation, the actor will try to force the feeling into existence when they perform. This is called generating. It is a very bad habit to get into, because the emotions that you generate in performance will not have an event as their source. They will stand out in a completely isolated way and be confusing to the audience. One of the funny things about presets is that you don't feel them working when you perform. The camera and the audience see your reactions, but you as the actor are often too caught up with the moment to be paying attention to your reactions. And this is wonderful. It means that you were doing real acting. But I have seen this over and over, that an actor will do brilliantly, but because they were deeply in the moment, they weren't paying attention to what they were doing. They go a little crazy and think that they did an awful job when they were great. This leads to all sorts of unnecessary self-flagellation. Remember to turn off the analytical part of your brain when you act. That little voice that tells you things about how well you are doing while you are doing it is one of your biggest enemies. So, presets function best when you do them, forget them, and trust them to be there when you need them. They are creatures of your subconscious and don't work well if you dwell on them. If you don't do them and try to create a reaction from nothing on the set while you are shooting the scene, the kindest thing that could be said is that you will be indicating. Presets are homework. They are a way of laying down a history of emotional charge so that you react to events and people in the story in a particular way. You can use them for almost every part of the emotional bridge, but they are especially important to the creation of relationships. In my first example, I used a man who suddenly sees the woman he loves after having been chastised by his boss. He breaks into a smile. That smile, if it is to be genuine, must have a foundation of previous events that were positive and supportive to this man. Using presets, you can create that foundation. If the foundation isn't there, the smile will not be genuine. It might look genuine, but anyone with half an eye will know that it isn't. And the audience will know in their gut that it isn't genuine. Here is one of the big problems with relationships for an actor. Not doing enough of the right kind of homework robs them of depth. So you are at rehearsal, and the director pulls you aside and says to you, "You know, I really like the relationship that you have to this person, but it doesn't seem deep enough. It needs something more." What do you say? Well, you could say any number of things. But if you know about presets, you can say, "Thanks, I know what to do to deepen it. How about if I work on it overnight and bring it back tomorrow?" Stage directors will love you. If you are on a film set, and in the middle of a take, you can use a gist phrase, "I will get to them in a bit," as a shortcut, or you can go back to your trailer and do some presetting between takes. A lot will depend on the situation. So, to create an emotional reaction to a person, or a place, or a thing, you use presets. And to deepen an emotional reaction to a person, place, or thing, you use presets. Presets work best when you do them, forget them, and trust them. But that seems like a lot of work. Yes, it is a lot of work, but the more you use it, the easier it gets. Character adjustments. There's a special type of preset that you, as an actor, will be called on to make. Say you are given a person to play who is totally devoid of emotions. A true sociopath. You do your research, and you find out what the basic parts of a sociopath are, and you work on them. But you just can't seem to make that step over into having no feeling about the other people in the story that is necessary to paint the clearest picture of this person. Also, you will have to do activities in the film that are totally reprehensible to you. Activities that you will have to do in a totally unfeeling way. Or worse, you will have to find pleasure in them. You can't get the handle on them. What you need here is to make a character adjustment. Character adjustments are a way to have an attitude about something that is wildly different than the norm. Villains have to make these adjustments a lot. It is really a form of substitution. You replace your attitude about one thing or activity with another attitude to give your mind the feeling that you need to have. Thus, cutting up someone viciously with a butcher knife is imaginatively substituted with cutting up a loaf of bread. So we see you cut up someone viciously the same way that you would cut up a tough loaf of bread. Stuffing someone into a gas chamber is imaginatively substituted with putting the ice cream away in the icebox. Laughing at seeing someone beaten to death is substituted with spending the night at a comedy club. While it is easy to understand the character adjustments that apply to villains, the same pattern of substitutions applies very widely to comedy. In comedy, you often have to either wildly magnify or wildly underemphasize situations. The reality is that you are being served a pickle. The substitution is that you are being served a lit stick of dynamite. You are reacting to one thing as if it were another thing entirely. All emotional preparation and all presets are a form of substitution. You are substituting feelings that you don't actually possess about the actual people in the show and the actual events. And you are replacing them with feelings that you need to possess about the imaginary people and the imaginary events of the story. With emotional preparation and presets, you are creating feelings that fall into the wide realm of what we consider normal or appropriate behavior for the situation in normal life, whatever that situation is. Character adjustments, however, are where you depart from this normal realm and create emotions and presets that are wildly different, wildly inappropriate, or wildly strange. With these two things, character adjustments and presets, you can load your performance and heighten your reactions. You can achieve either the depth of reaction or the difference of reaction for anything that you may encounter as an actor. Let's move on. Thanks for watching.